Blog Talk Radio.
There's a few of us on the air, and we'll be introducing ourselves in just a little bit. I wanted to start off by thanking JP for giving us a platform to share our thoughts on various topics, and more specifically, Kagame's regime and how it's impacted our lives. So my name is Singiza. I'm 26 years old. I was born and raised in Canada. My brother is also on the air.
My name is Irakoze. I'm also born and raised here in Canada. I'm 24 years old.
My name is TC. I was actually born in Kigali, and I moved to Canada when I was 3 years old and have been living there ever since.
And I am Nicole. I am 24 years old, and I, too, was born and raised in Canada.
Hey.
Hi,
guys. What's up, guys?
How's everybody feeling?
Good. We're happy to be here with the beautiful people, all the listeners.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more.
I know
We're all
that
happy
it's been a
and
tough
excited
year.
to be together.
Yeah, this is a long time coming, so really happy we have this platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I know 2020 has been a little bit crazy and hectic for all of us. How have you guys been coping?
Well, that's a loaded question. I feel like every time somebody asks me that question, I get a little bit re-traumatized.
Yeah, like
2020 has been, yeah, right? 2020 has been a lot. 2020 has been a lot.
It has. When someone asks a question about 2020, it's almost like I don't know where to start, you know?
Right. And it's crazy because it's like this is one of the few years where it's like the entire world can relate to, to that. So,
yeah, I think it all started with Kobe, right? Kind of went all downhill from there.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, most definitely did.
I think the world.
That was, you know what's crazy is the fact that the beginning of 2020, I thought 2019 was quite a year. You know, I thought it couldn't really get any crazier than 2019, and I was so optimistic when the year started. But my mom was almost the first to say she almost didn't have too creative a feeling about this year coming up. But I didn't want to believe that until, you know, Kobe Bryant, like you mentioned, saying was really the beginning of an unbelievably, you know, shocking and terrible year for many of us.
Yeah. And then obviously, you know, the pandemic and the whole world kind of being on fire, really. It's crazy. So I'm definitely happy that we were all able to get on this call and kind of discuss some of the other things. I do want to know, though, what made you guys decide to be part of this show?
For me personally, just seeing, you know, the effect that, you know, everything in Rwanda has had on my family, specifically my loved ones. You know, personally for me, it didn't affect me right away until I really saw it secondhand. You know, my parents, everything that's going on, it's every day for them. It consumes them. It has changed our household completely. It's not fun anymore. You know, we're not out doing, you know, activities, spending time. It's literally the news, Rwandan politics all day, every day.
Oh my goodness, I can definitely relate.
And I'm sure you guys relate, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean...
For sure. Sorry, go ahead, Adu.
No, you can go ahead. It's fine. I'll go after you.
So I was just going to say that exactly what you said, Cheech, and then you see them so involved, and you're kind of like, well, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
We should have more energy than them, but somehow.
I know. Well, especially
we should be a little bit more involved.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, you know, especially right now with everything going on in the U.S. or the whole, you know, Black Lives Matter thing, that sort of, whenever that happened, and I was putting all my efforts protesting for that and kind of having my parents say, you know, why do you have all this energy to protest, you know, Black Lives Matter here, but you're not putting that same energy in your home? Like, you know, the things that are going on in Rwanda that have been going on and that have personally affected people that, you know, are near me on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And they're not wrong.
It's so easy for us to feel so connected from it, just being like wherever we are, Canada, the States, just far away. So we feel like, okay, that's like Rwanda's home, but it's also like they'll figure it out. Like it's always a they'll figure it. It's they. But I feel like, especially like getting older too, I guess, you just start to realize like you just need to take like personal responsibility. Like, this is my country too, even though
we have to take responsibility.
I'm not grown up there. I may not know as much about the country as somebody who was born and raised, whatever. But that's still my country. So it makes it.
And you know,
and we are
it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, I mean, even people in Rwanda were protesting for Black Lives Matter and George Floyd.
Yeah,
but they don't protest their own people like either. You know, people who live right there in the country. So I think that makes it a little bit harder for us to kind of get involved too.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's sad to say, but that's kind of just the truth. Fact, you know, they lost a lot of big people.
Well,
sorry, I agree with that. Sorry, Sue, but I mean to give my point of view and perspective on why I felt the need that this would be so important to do, especially with you guys, is the simple fact that you start asking yourself how long, right? How long are you going to hear stories of people being killed, right, or people being taken advantage of, and the whole corruption in that country? How long are you going to just sit down and listen and not really do anything about it? You know, I think personally I've been so blessed and lucky enough to be inspired by people close to us who've decided to finally stand up for what is right. You know, at the end of the day, we may be fortunate enough to not be in those circumstances physically, but it affects us the exact same way, you know, and I feel like the time I finally sat down and thought to myself, me just sitting down and hearing the stories and moving on with my own personal life, to a certain extent, doesn't really make me different from the ones who also know all the killings going on and everything happening, but continue to just disregard the fact that it's happening, you know, or maybe even try and support it because it hasn't affected them. So I think just understanding that, you know, it completely affects us, and even speaking about it is a great step towards helping to try and create change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I do yours.
And then,
you're absolutely
do you guys
right.
ever have people too? Because this is like, we always think, I guess, because Rwanda is such a small country and we like grew up with Rwanda, and we always think it's just like such a small knitted thing. But you go out into the world and people know what's going on in the sense that they know that, like, they might not know the whole deal with what's going on today in Rwanda, I guess. But like, for example, at work recently, someone I worked with, he was an African guy, he was Nigerian. But he was like telling me all about like Kagame and what he's doing, and you know how people think that he's like this great leader, but you know he had been doing a lot of reading and he sees how like his dictatorship. And I was just sitting there like, wow, like people, I feel like as young people especially
Yeah.
did more of the work of like being vocal, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
could be so much bigger than it is already because people want to know what's going on. When I tell people what's going on in Rwanda, the
they're
horror
very
on
intrigued.
their faces, it's crazy because it's like we've become so accustomed to it as Rwandans. But you tell other people
Right.
from other places and looking at you crazy, like what?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
where,
And you don't even have to go that deep into like what's going on there. Literally, the fact that they've had the same president for what feels like 100 years.
Let's talk about it.
It's like an issue in itself, no? Like, isn't that a red flag right then and there?
right.
Well, I feel like
20?
one of the things, I feel like...
Sorry, what was that, Nick?
I said, what are we going on? Year number 20?
You're 20 or
Literally, that's not an exaggeration.
It's pathetic, man. It's unbelievable.
Sorry to cut
No,
you off, Cheech. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, it's okay. I was going to say, like, I think that, you know, the people, I mean, it's easier for us, I feel, to be vocal about it and to have these conversations. I mean, I don't want to say easier because, of course, like, you never know what could happen. But I feel like for people who are actually living in Rwanda, like, there's so much fear. Like, and
Right.
as much as, you know, Rwandese people want to act like the country is this paradise and they're so proud and so excited to be Rwandese, they know, like, they are scared to speak up. And that's why, you know, we've all seen friends of our families sort of not talk to us anymore. All of a sudden, they're, you know, they forgot our numbers or something. They're not reaching out anymore because they see us being vocal.
Yeah.
Because, and so it's weird. It's like they know what's going on, but they're too scared to say anything. But then at the same time, if you're so scared, how could you support this? And why wouldn't you?
Right.
Everyone is scared. Why wouldn't everyone just try and, you know, speak up and unite? Because we are
together
stronger as yeah, exactly. We are stronger together.
Right. That fear should
Yeah.
tell you everything you need to know about that regime.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You
no
know,
one's
I
willing
mean,
for a death or, God forbid, you know, something bad, something not serious happening, because that is what happens when you oppose that regime. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that regime.
And they don't even try to hide it that much anymore.
Oh, no.
Like, it's very clear when someone's been murdered because of
Yeah.
something that they believed in or something that they spoke out about. So
Right.
I completely agree about the fear, CC, but then we all as one have to kind of come together and figure out how to fight it. And like you said, we're definitely better together than we are alone.
Yeah, and I think we're so
could...
blessed to be in an era where social media is so prevalent and where we could really reach. We have so much, like, reach. We're able to talk about this and put it out there and have people know. And even in Rwanda, like, the youth there, they're able to see that it doesn't need to be like that. People there are able, because of social media, because of, you know, the technology where it is now, they are able to see that this is not the only way to live. But what kind of terrifies me is what if it became, you know, what if Kagame strikes me as the type who would maybe censor everything and make it so that they are close to communication. And I feel like that's why it's so important to push, you know, this message out now and do as much as we can now before it's too late, because nothing at this point would surprise me.
Yeah, agreed.
Wow. I completely agree with
Nothing
that.
at all.
I completely agree with that, Sissy. You know, and even just to add to that,
And
you mentioned something
he has
about
people
fear.
controlling all of that, so.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's the crazy thing. You know, Sissy mentioned fear, and, you know, because I've posted, I mean, we all have posted on our own social media about everything going on in that country a long time ago, and we've been very vocal about it, and I had people here, Rwandan youth here in this country, message me on what I'm posting saying, aren't you afraid? You guys must have lost your mind. You're posting this? Like,
people said that to you?
Wow.
yeah, people directly told me that. More than one person saying he has eyes everywhere. And I just sat down and thought to myself, man, this is where Kagame and his people have been able to continue to do what they've done for all these decades. Yeah. They have instilled fear in people to where even if you're in a country like Canada, you're messaging me, aren't you afraid? So what are we supposed to do? Just keep quiet and let it happen? It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I spoke out. I tweeted something about Kagame, and a bunch of people that I didn't know, they didn't know me, were commenting like, "You're gonna die soon." I was like, "Oh my, this is just crazy."
I remember.
You remember that, Nicole? I couldn't believe it, and it wasn't just one message. It wasn't just two. It was like, where are these people coming from? Yes. Because here's what it comes down to, right? Freedom of speech is non-existent in that country.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just shocked by anyone who says anything against that evil man. And because we've been lucky enough to grow up in countries where we can say whatever we want when we want, it doesn't click.
It doesn't. So we
were
in Rwanda in 2012. Was it 2012? Yes, 2012.
Yeah.
So we went as a family, and we took a vacation in Rwanda, and we were so excited, rightfully so. It was a fantastic trip. I have nothing but good things to say about the trip itself. But that is probably the thing I remember the most, and I think you guys can all, attest to that, too, was as soon as we, touched down into the country, it was you have to be careful what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
I remember we were all shocked.
Yeah, and I didn't really understand what that meant. I was like, be careful what you say.
Right.
What do you mean?
I literally didn't understand.
Right. I was like, be careful what I say about what? About who? What would I say? That would be so dangerous. And then it begs the question, what is going on here? The country looks so beautiful and nice, and you're having so much fun, and you're driving motos everywhere. Fun.
Yeah.
But then you hear things like that.
At the end of the day, it's the time of our lives.
Yeah, and it just opens your eyes to what's really going on. It's such a small, little statement, watch what you say, but it speaks volumes about the state of the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was very.
Even
I remember
16-year-old tourists can't speak their minds in public.
I remember even being in a car with just my mom, a friend of hers, and my sisters, just in the car, and I mentioned Kagame's name, and my mom freaked out. She's like, "You can't talk about him. Don't say his name. Don't say anything." I'm like, "But there's no one here but us." She's like, no, you never know. I swear, I think she thought the phones were bugged. It was so weird, and I thought she was kidding. I couldn't even fathom the idea. I was so confused.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it was crazy.
Oh my goodness! I mean, see, your family saw a lot when we were in Rwanda. Your little sister fully had bottles thrown at her for wearing shorts.
Oh my god! Yeah, for wearing shorts.
So it's
they
not
weren't
just
even
freedom of
shorts.
speech.
She was wearing thigh-length shorts. They would have been approved at school when they make you put your hand beside your leg to see how long your shorts are. They would have been approved. They were Bermudas. They were so long. She got bottles thrown at her. My aunt, Caesar's mom, the poor woman, she got bottles thrown at her. She got prayed for because they thought she was her mom and had let her leave the house like that. They were praying for her, telling her she was a bad mother. It was insane.
A whole other world, literally. Yeah, that story was crazy.
And it's a democratic country, though, and everyone has rights, and it's
democratic
wonderful.
Country, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's true. That trip right before we went, I remember Nicole's dad also giving me the exact same speech he gave her, right? Simply saying, listen, buddy, we're no longer in Canada, all right? So, Kagame, we don't say that name once we land. Don't don't speak his name or anything that has to do with politics. And I was fairly young in 2012, so it's not like I had any reason to want to do exactly that. But just to hear that you cannot say this and this and this was so different to us. We could never understand it, any of us.
Right. Right, and we have to be honest with ourselves. At the time, we also did not care.
Oh, no.
It hadn't affected our lives just yet. The regime hadn't taken our parents basically away because, like you said, CC, it's all about politics now and trying to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also at the time we were like, wow, that's crazy. Moving on. Next, where are we going tonight? Yeah.
Oh my.
So I am glad that with time we've kind of realized, and by ourselves even, that something needs to be done. And
and it's continuously gone just worse and worse, right? Since the last time. I mean, we were all much younger than what we are now. This is 8 years ago. But as we've gone older and, things happening to, our uncles in Nepal and things just continuously happening from there and hearing stories and things like that, you just realize that eventually you have to do something. You have to do something about it. So I'm just happy of the fact that we're at the age where we can actually hear about many other different stories and want to do a change and do something to change it.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, at least back in the day, Kagame tried to hide it with, false accidents, quote unquote, and whatever. I think he's losing his mind because nowadays he doesn't even care to hide that.
I mean,
reckless.
When you win an election by 99.97%, you have to wonder. He could have fixed the numbers a little bit better than that to make it at least a little
make
realistic.
It seem a little bit realistic. Yeah,
maybe 80-20 even, math.
It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
Crazy.
And even then, we wouldn't believe that he won, but we'd be like, he tried. He tried to give us a little false hope that.
But then again, it's what does that tell you about the country that he can do that? That he can say, I won this election. He can look you dead in the face on the news and say, I won this election by 99.97%, and that's just what it is.
Well, didn't he also rewrite the laws to make sure that he could serve more than 2 terms, one, and that nothing that he does while in office could be, punishable after he leaves the office? He, he rewrote the Constitution. That is not
literally
anymore. People, you need an office to vote on all of those things. If he is rewriting these laws, that is not a democracy anymore. That's not how it works.
Yeah. No, he definitely has a God complex.
Oh, yeah.
And, the people around him also treat him like he's God. So, of course, he's doing whatever he wants. And he has been.
And
for
if
20
they
years.
don't, they die. So.
And what's interesting is he uses that 99.9% as proof of his popularity. Right? This guy is just an absolute joke when you think about it, If you need you just watch his interviews and you just want to laugh at him. If you ask him anything that may somewhat be, contradictory to anything, right? Or challenge him. That's a guy who's a real dictator. He hates being challenged. You see his face change right away. You just see it, you know?
No, he's sick. Yeah. There's definitely something wrong there. And even the fact that people are starving and literally dying of starvation, but somehow the Rwandan flag is on, professional soccer teams like Arsenal.
Right. Visit Rwanda.
Where's this money coming
don't even
from?
start that. That one goes deep to the heart. You know that, man.
I know. We live in an Arsenal household, but we got to speak the truth.
Yeah.
I feel, and it's like everything that we're saying too. It's not to bash Kagame. It's not to bash the regime in and of itself. It's that there's a regime so detrimental to the people of Rwanda and so harmful to a whole nation that it's like morally, if you have any sense of morality, you can't sit by and just watch that happen and have nothing to say and have no opinion.
Right.
Because you're being
well said, yeah.
Either you tell the truth and you say, I am choosing not to care. I am choosing to allow this to happen to my people, to the people of Rwanda, and it just is what it is. Or you speak up about it. There's no room for middle, because this isn't a conversation or, a situation where there is a middle. It's right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
Absolutely. And that regime is wrong. At every turn, they are wrong.
And Rwandans have they deserve a break.
Right, right. I think that all the time, like even those very words, like, have we not suffered enough?
Enough. It's like enough is enough. You
like, it's unbelievable, really. It's like every time you think, okay, we've suffered the worst, like the worst is behind us. Nope, you saw it. Nope. It's just crazy. It's like for people who are Rwandan, especially young people, it's like we grew up with such a pride, and we have such a pride for our country.
Yeah.
So it's like heartbreaking to see what's happening to it, and it's heartbreaking to even sometimes not feel that sense of pride, because there's not much to feel prideful about. That's how it feels sometimes.
I think that's the hardest part. It's like, whoa, the more years go by, the more I'm just like, the pride isn't really there anymore the way that it used to.
Right.
And that's because I'm educating myself more and more on what's going on, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's one of that's why I'm glad that we decided to kind of, I don't know how many people are going to hear this or whatever, but at least I feel like I'm not just sitting at home, doing nothing.
Right.
It's not much, but voices are powerful, and
absolutely,
the people in Rwanda, honestly, most of them feel like they don't have one.
Right. Yeah. So it's like it's our responsibility, really, and it's just therapeutic. I feel for us.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily on a radio, it's nice to have a conversation. So it's exciting. This is an exciting time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that change is on the horizon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
It is.
Yeah.
It was so good talking to you guys.
Righty. Yeah, so good talking to you guys too.
Yeah, this was amazing.
You guys.
You beautiful souls. Again, thank you so much to JP for giving us this platform. Love you guys and love everybody else out there.
Absolutely.
Love Rwanda.
Thanks so much, everyone.
We want our country back.
We want it back.
We want our country back.
Time for change.
I would like to go back one day.
One day.
I would like my kids to go one day.
I would love to go back to Rwanda one day, please.
Wow.
That would be great.
Okay, beautiful people. We'll talk soon.
Love you guys. All righty.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
With the closing remarks, we would just like to say thank you for listening to those who were able to listen to us. We hope to have these discussions going on once or twice a month, and hopefully have more people join us to share about Rwanda, whether their experience with the system has been good or bad, and mostly to share about their life in general. We are extremely happy to be doing this and to be able to reach out to all of you. And I hope that we make the message clear for this first one, to just let the youth of Rwandans understand that although we were all raised here in Canada, we can still speak on what we know and trying to help make a change, because speaking matters, and having the platform to be able to talk about it and to touch other people and let others hear, it matters, and it's time for change. So thank you so much. Until next time.